set to start a new hour. I've been talking to Terry over here. He's from Youngstown, Ohio. He's a big Browns fan. Orlovsky, he is excited.
I got him at 12 wins. Scary Terry, so.
Drop 14. Oh!
Drop 14.
Okay, 14. Unbiased.
14 wins.
He's got a taste of what the trash talk probably sounds like if you're on the floor against this guy. We welcome you back to another hour of Get Up, coming to you as always live from above the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17 with this cast of characters on the set. Here's where we're getting up this morning. Of course, it starts with Zion. Tonight, 4 ping pong balls will decide his future, and we'll see how long they go towards deciding the future of the NBA. And then, the immediate future of that man is not looking so good. The update from Steve Kerr, not promising on KD. Does that open the door for Portland? We're getting ready for Game 1. And the Lakers make it official on their next coach. Where does this leave LeBron? Will his next challenge be his biggest challenge ever? All that and more as we get up with you starting right now. And here's just a taste of the way they're feeling in New York and other places, praying for Zion and Zion Williamson tonight, the most anticipated draft lottery. I'll say it. I go back to the very first one with Ewing. I think this is the most anticipated one ever. Now, the Knicks had the worst record in the NBA, but under the new system, they have only a 14% chance to get the top pick. They haven't had the top pick since they got that guy, Patrick Ewing, in the first lottery in '85. Now, the Cavs and Suns also have 14% chances to get number 1. Cleveland's had that 3 times since 2011. The Suns took DeAndre Ayton number 1 last year. And as for some long shots, the Lakers have a 2% chance at the top pick. Sacramento's first-round pick belongs to the Sixers. If it's number 1 overall, it belongs to the Celtics otherwise. So here are some of the numbers. Again, this is the newly updated lottery system. This is different than it's been in previous years. There is now a 58% chance the number 1 pick lands somewhere other than New York, Cleveland, or Phoenix. Let me say that again. There is a better chance someone else gets that pick than that one of those 3 teams get that pick. It's also worth noting that the Knicks, despite having the worst record, have a better chance of picking 5th than they do of picking anywhere inside the top 3. So there is drama, there is intrigue, and there are questions going into tonight. Let's get some answers from our buddy Jay Will. Jay Williams is live in Chicago for our coverage of the lottery tonight. And so let me ask you the same question that I used to start the show this morning, Jay. Where in your mind would be the best case scenario for Zion himself to wind up?
Well, Green, I think that's a very difficult question to answer because a lot depends upon free agency and what were to happen. Obviously, if he were to go to New York from a marketability perspective, I think that would be incredible for him. And if New York were able to parlay that into getting a Kevin Durant or a Kyrie Irving, well, I think would only help that. But from a basketball perspective, if you're asking me about what team currently right now with their roster would be the most exciting to watch, you can say Phoenix, but I'm going to bring it to a team in the South. I'm going to bring it to ATL. Can you think about Zion Williamson with Trae Young, John Collins, Amari Spellman, Kevin Huerter, this young, fast-running team, the culture that exists down at ATL with the influence that it has. 2 Chainz owns a G League team down that way. Zion Williamson will bring a lot of attention to a team that already got a ton of attention this past year. What Travis Schlenk has been able to do with this team and drafting a guy like Trae Young. I mean, that could be a potential fit with the style in which they play. Granted, any team's going to build their style around Zion, but ATL could be a fascinating, really fun style to watch him play in.
I want to give DJ a quick chance to comment on that because I will say, Jay Will, as you said that, your eyes lit up sitting here. I saw you. You love that idea, right? Yeah. The possibility of him in Atlanta. Why?
Yeah, I did because me and Coach Thibodeau was talking about they play fast. You have a good point guard, and he's pushing the ball, and he runs in transition. He's athletic enough to finish plays, and it just works. Now, is it the best place for him to go? We don't know. I think it's the Big Apple, but I would love to see him in Atlanta if it did come to that.
All right, Jay Will, you struck a chord here. Let me come back to you then, because obviously this is going to be talked about as, and probably remembered as, the Zion draft, one way or the other. But I've had a lot of people come up to me and tell me lately they think the best NBA player in this draft is Ja Morant. If someone said that to you, how would you respond?
Greeny, I said it on our show the other day, and DJ just said it. Zion Williamson's game is so different, okay? But his skill set maybe isn't as versatile as some of the upper echelon players in the league. He's still going to grow. He could potentially get there. But I said on our show that Ja Morant's game could potentially translate better right away because the ball is going to be in his hands. Why do you think every team in the NFL wants to draft a quarterback, i.e. Arizona with Kyle Murray? You need a point guard who can make quality, sound decisions. Now, if he were to go to a team like Phoenix, can you imagine what that would be with him and Devin Booker and the style in which they play? It's just the ball's in his hands. He can average double-digit assists. He makes sound decisions, and he can shoot the basketball. Think about what you need to win in today's NBA. Think about what we're seeing tonight between Dame Lillard, C.J. McCollum, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. You're seeing guys who are used to having the ball in their hands and making decisions. That's who Ja Morant can be.
And super quickly, I'm trying to get fans, especially if their teams are in this mix tonight, ready to watch this and to understand what they should be expecting. Where's the drop-off? It feels to me like the conventional wisdom is there are the top 3 players in this draft. There's Zion, there's Morant, there's Barrett, and then the drop-off is there. Is that accurate? Is it 3, or at what number do you think a team still gets a player who projects to be a superstar?
Look, I think there's some gems in the top 10. I mean, nobody's talking about Darius Garland, the kid that got hurt from Vanderbilt. He's a quality point guard. Kobe White. I said on our show, DeAndre Hunter is a guy that's like a kind of a Kawhi-type player with his defensive abilities. And look what he did in the NCAA championship game. Can shoot from the outside, can fit seamlessly. I don't know if these guys are going to be franchise players, but they're guys, and Tibbs knows this, they're guys that can win you championships by making the right plays and being solid players on a team. Solid players, Greeny, can still make $60 to $70 million. I'll be that solid player for any team. Trust me and believe that.
That's well said. All right, Jay Will, enjoy in Chicago. We'll see you soon. Get a slice of deep dish for me if you would. All right, let me bring it out to the table here and come to you first, Tibbs. So I'm just going to put you in a situation where you're the coach of a team and your team drafts Zion. Let's say you're in New York right now, where you basically have a blank canvas. You're bringing him in, and who knows what you're going to wind up putting around him. From day one, what is he doing for you? What is Zion Williamson doing for sure day one as an NBA player?
Well, when you think about the NBA game today, the pace and space, he fits into that immediately. The strength, he fits into that immediately. And then if you're talking about a team like New York that has cap space, you're going to add quality players around him, and that's going to make him that much better. The thing that I loved that he did at Duke, he embraced R.J. Barrett, and R.J. Barrett embraced him. They got along great. Right, so you have to give him a lot of credit. He can fit into a team, and I think he lifts everybody up. He's the type of guy, you could see it with his teammates, the way he interacts with them. He brings the best out of people.
There was a selflessness about him, I agree, that emanated from that circumstance. They were a group, and he never really seemed to distinguish himself personally from that group, even though he probably could have. Terry, when he went through that whole thing where the shoe exploded and everything else, there were people talking about he shouldn't play again on the college level. He should just make sure he stays healthy. The fact that he went back and did play, what did that tell you about him?
He loves the game. He's not really thinking too far ahead. He's worried about right now, and he finished the season. And I was one of the guys that was hoping that he would
come back and play. In his circumstance, if you had been in his, again, you were obviously a player who was highly touted going out of the college level, but not on his level. No one's ever been on his level. Right. Would you have considered shutting it down? Was that? I mean, what was your take on that whole debate while it was going on?
I would have definitely considered it, but him probably just being a competitor and being who he is, he still feel like he has something to prove, even if he don't. So I'm glad that he still played.
And then DJ, I would turn to you because you opened this show this morning by saying you think the guy is 1 in a million. What is it specifically about him that you think has just can't miss superstar written all over him?
Skill set, and in this day and age with social media, his personality and his charisma, everybody wants to be around him, and that's really good as a player going forward in the league. That he's going to have a lot of people supporting him, and it's good for an organization.
I'm looking right at Dan Orlovsky as I say this because he and I have had this fight all year long, and I've been at this a really long time. And when I watch a guy like Kyler Murray be drafted #1 overall in the NFL, I get it, but I remain skeptical because I've never seen it. I've never seen a guy do what everyone is telling me he's going to be able to do on the next level. I kind of feel the same way here. I know what Ja Morant is going to be on the next level. If he is as good as he could be, he's Russell Westbrook. R.J. Barrett, if he's as good as he could be, he's James Harden. I don't know what Zion is. I've never seen anything that looks exactly like this. He's 6'7". He's not going to be a center, but people are telling me he projects to be a 5. Tibbs, what does that mean? I mean, how does that happen?
I think he's a basketball player. I think he can play multiple positions, and that's what our league is going towards. And there will be an adjustment for all these guys coming into the league. It's a far different game. The college game is a lot different. And there'll be a growth period for him, but there's a lot of things that I think he can do immediately. And the way he can score the ball, that's going to come right from the start. But when you look at Doncic and you look at Young, This past season, there was an adjustment period for them, but by the end of the season, they both were playing great basketball.
No, there's no question. Again, those two guys we've seen them before. We knew exactly what to compare them to. We'll see how this goes. Look, I love the kid, and I hope he is spectacular. He is as good a thing as has come into the NBA, the whole phenomenon, as you could ever possibly ask for. Speaking of which, Game 1, Western Conference.